Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how I made this little mixed media card using some Lunar paste and other various things. It's a long video, so I hope you'll join me for the premiere, and we're going to make two cards. So I've got watercolor paper, I've got my stencil, I've got a background stamp, I've got this little flourish die. Use what you have. And that's my point here. And then I've got some Lunar paste, and I've got it in Shady and Gur. And the Gur makes kind of a bronze color, and the Shady makes kind of an iron color. And I have some distress spray stain, but I'm going to show you how to do this if you don't have spray stain. So we'll get started with our stenciling because we have to, that has to dry. So I'm going to set my two pieces of paper out here. And this is just the El Cheapo watercolor that I normally use. And I want to first stamp the background. And this is just to add interest. It doesn't mean anything. You don't have to do it. But I'm going to do the first one in the ground espresso. And I'm just going to lay my paper on the smooth side down and smush that stamp on there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I don't really want it to be perfect. I'm going to wipe the espresso off, though, and then I'm going to go with my black soot archival. And I want archival because I don't want it to move. I want it to be completely waterproof. All right. We'll get our piece of paper down here. And same thing. So everything we're doing is pretty repetitive, just with different colors. So now that I've got that done, I can kind of set those aside to dry for a moment. And I can start my stenciling. So this one is dry. So I'm going to use the Gur Lunar paste on this one. And we're going to do something trickier with our Lunar paste a little bit later, and you'll see. So I've got my waffle flower mat here. And let me try and get it out. And by the way, I didn't cut anything out or speed anything up or anything. This is real time. The only thing's different is I'm doing a voiceover because I just wanted to. I didn't realize this was going to take so long, and that's why I made it a premiere, so we can hang out and chat, and if anybody has questions, I can answer your questions in the chat later on. So this is a stencil I got, I think scrapbook.com. Use any stencil you have. Doesn't matter, This is a matter of taste. And, I bought this stencil, and I'll be doggone, I'm going to use it. And it's called Henna. It's from Creative Expressions. Yeah, Creative Expressions. It's a 7x7 stencil. And so I'm going to go ahead and stick the sides all down to that mat. And I'm going to grab my little Simon Hurley scrapey tool. And I'm going to find a knife here. And I'll go ahead and just chunk some of this down onto the stencil. Now, Simon likes to go from the bottom, but I have better luck going from the top, so that's just me. And I might not have added enough. In fact, I know I didn't add enough, but you can always add more later. And this, by the way, my friends, does not have to be perfect. Okay, the whole idea of mixed media is not perfect. So don't think that if you got some under the stencil, the project is ruined. It's not. So I've got a couple of spots there where I didn't get any. I do want all of the design covered. So I'll just grab a little bit more and smack some on there with my knife. Spread it out and then scrape it up. And I don't know why it is my nose always decides to run when I'm doing a voiceover. So I'm so sorry about that. I keep having to stop, blow my nose, start over. It's crazy. All right, and then we'll scrape off all that excess and put it right back into the jar. And this stuff's easy to clean up. But I do stop it, and I stop the video to do some of the cleanups just because, you don't necessarily need to see the whole cleanup process. But, okay, there's our stencil down. It looks great, right? I love it. But I got a hot mess here on my hands now, and I'm not going to lie, this project is messy, messy, messy. So if you don't like to get messy, wear gloves, put down paper, do what you have to do. My little silicone, scrapbook.com silicone mat, really is great, cleans up great. So I have complete faith in it. If I get stuff on there, it'll wipe up. And what you saw me spray on there, I think, was alcohol. I don't know. It might have been alcohol, might have been water. But I'm going to tell you that this Lunar paste cleans up better with water than it does alcohol. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean off the stencil. Yeah, it looks like I'm spraying alcohol, and it just doesn't really want to come off that easily. But as soon as I spray it with water, it comes right up. Go figure. See? Look at there. And I'm just using a thick paper towel to clean up here. And you see the process is pick up the stencil, flip it over, clean up the back, pick it up, flip it over, pick up the front. Because all that Lunar paste, you know, is kind of in all those little cracks and crevices. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because I'm about to make another mess with it. So just kind of cleaning off my tools a little bit so I don't contaminate the colors. Then I'm going to lay my little mat back down, grab my piece that I stamped with the black soot archival ink. I'm going to lay my stencil back down. Doesn't have to be in the same place. I don't want any two cards the same, but they can be similar. So there's that. And so I've got the Shady Lunar paste now. I'm going to do the same thing, only I'm going to put on a thicker application of it this time so I don't have to dig back into the bucket. So interesting fact, I've got four January birthdays. So my husband is January 8th, the day Elvis was born, and so was my son Joe. And then my son Mac was January 15th, and 7 years later, his little brother Dave was born on January 15th. So, you know, I got to make cards for my guys. And so, yeah, that one covered fine, and I've got plenty left over. So we'll just scrape that off of there and put it back in the bucket. And we're not done with our Lunar paste yet, but I'm going to show you how to get a cool metallic effect. And this is what I'm after here because they're dudes cards, right? So that one's done. And I'm just going to set it aside to kind of dry and clean up my mess here. All right, so that one I did off camera. Now I've got a piece of, this is just some 100-pound, I think it's hammer mill. I don't know, just whatever I grabbed. And no, I think it's accent opaque, actually, 110. And I'm going to select one of these flourishes, and I just want the small one. I'm going to cut two of them, if I can get it out of the, there we go. So I'm just going to grab my little mini Empress out here. I love this thing, I'm telling you. Get her plugged in. I keep her on the floor down to my right, and so my plug won't reach down there. And then I've got the little mats here, and I cut on the magnet side, which is fine. It hasn't changed anything at all with regard to my cutting. You know, the mat, you know, eventually will have to be replaced. Helps if you turn the machine on too. And I'm going to run it through twice each time because it is 110-pound paper and kind of an intricate die. So I want to make sure it cuts all the way through. And because of that magnet, the die doesn't move on you. Very handy. Okay, and just flop that out of there, poke it out. And I like to poke my little parts out off to the side because they're really hard to get off the silicone mat with your fingers. They're just hard to pick up off of there. All right, there's one. Let's do another. And I'll save the edges of that paper for my sentiments. Sorry, I'm slightly off camera here. There is a space issue, of course, but, you know, for the important parts, I'm on camera. Okay, just hit run, and I'll run that through twice as well. Number 1 and number 2. I bought a switch machine. I haven't used it a whole lot yet. Because this one's just so doggone handy, but I bought it for larger projects, and because it was on sale for really cheap, so I bought it, yeah. And one of these days I'm going to do a review of the machines I have. I don't have every single machine out there. I have quite a few, but not every one. I don't have the Gina K machine. I don't have the Bureaucraft machine. I don't have a Cuttlebug, and those were around and retired long before I even got into card making. See what I mean about these being hard to pick up? They're just a pain. So I poke out off to the side. All right, those are ready to go. Now we need to get our lunar paste back out. And I've got here just a little foam pad. And I'm going to just put a little bit of lunar paste out. And you could actually probably grab some from the lid, but I'm going to put some out onto my little mat here. And I'm going to mush that little foam pad into there. And I'm just going to dab and lift. I want the texture here, and I want it on here thick. So just dab and lift, and yeah, this is where you get messy, and that's okay. Okay, I'm happy with that piece, except for right there where I touched it. You could do this with your fingers, too, if you wanted to. And I do, usually. So, but, and then I'm just going to take that excess and scrape it up and put it back in the jar. And then we're going to do the same with the Shady. And again, I haven't cut anything out or sped anything up, so, you know, some parts might be repetitive, but sometimes it helps to watch it twice. And then, of course, we're using different colors, so there's that. And I'm looking for a paper towel here. You know how it goes. You set them down and they go where. I don't have a paper towel holder in here. There's no place to put one. So they just go where they go. And all I did was just squirt some water on there, and I'm just kind of twisting and getting that until I don't see any more lunar paste to clean it up. And then we'll go in with the Shady. You can tell it's kind of one of my favorites. I've used it a lot. I'm going to try it on here, and I think better of that in a minute. There we go. Let's get some of that off. That's just a little bit much. Okay, and just slop that stuff on there. You know, I like to experiment with my products so that I can make them stretch and get, you know, more different effects out of them. So the lunar paste is a very shiny, beautiful, has a beautiful finish once it's dried. But I wanted to take it a step further because I know that if you get it too hot, it bubbles. And I wanted to see what would happen if it bubbles. And if I could purposely make it bubble to get a different effect out of it. And absolutely, you're going to see here in a minute. As soon as I kind of clean this up a little bit so I don't have to contend with it everywhere. I've already gotten my sleeve into it multiple times. It's a good thing I buy cheap sweatshirts at Walmart. If I don't think I would craft in anything that I didn't want to ruin or didn't care. All right, so I'm going to bring these over here, and now we're going to put the heat to these bad boys. So I'm using my Wow embossing tool with high heat, and you just kind of have to watch as the magic happens. As this gets hot and the lunar paste gets hot, it starts to bubble. And that's exactly what we're looking for, is this bubbling, because it's going to serve two purposes. It's going to dry the lunar paste faster, and it's going to give us a metallic type texture. So I'm just holding the heat right on this, and I'm trying to show you where the bubbles are here. It's kind of hard to see on a small screen. Hopefully I actually lift it up for you later when I do the matte layers, because I'm going to do that to the matte layers too. Let's pick this up here, and just in case it's hot, we'll go ahead and get our kind of goldish color bubbling here. Or bronze, or, well, the color is called Gur, but yeah, to me it's kind of like, you know, some cool metallic. Yeah, maybe bronze. Maybe so. And it doesn't, I've held the heat to it for extended periods of time, and it doesn't seem to emit a scent or anything. So there's that. But it does bubble up like crazy. Now here we are up close, and there's the impact we got from creating those bubbles. And I'm not worried about any white space showing, and there's what that looks like. So it looks like hammered metal. So once that's dry, and I feel like it's dry, I'm going to go ahead with the Ground Espresso Archival ink in this little small brush, and I'm just going to kind of edge it. And it's going to impact the color of it a bit, and that's fine. That's exactly what I want. I want this to look worn and weathered, because it's a dude card, and it's a dude card for my dudes who I know and know will like and appreciate the mixed media aspect of their birthday cards, hopefully. Especially Mike better. Well, I mean, next time we go live, I'm making him do mixed media. It's going to be fun. So see, there we go. That kind of changed that color in there. And then I'll do the same thing with the Shady Lunar paste, only I'll do it with my black archival ink. Yeah, let me get a piece of paper here so you can kind of see the impact. And let's find the black archival. And I'm going to use a little makeup brush for that. Like a makeup eyeshadow sponge. Like you guys see me use all the time. Okay, try and get stuff out of the way so I don't look like a cluttered up mess, which I usually am, and that's okay. I know that you guys understand. I see a lot of crafters and I see how neat their work area is, but I know the reality of it, you know, in the cutting room, a lot of that gets taken care of. You know, they stop, they clean up in between, and I'm like, I don't have time for all that. I'll clean up when I'm done. All right, there's our pieces, and we're going to just set those aside and clean up. So I did clean up off camera, and I did bubble up the gold one, or the Gur one, and now I'm going to bubble up the Shady. And this is where you can see the bubbling better. So it's going to change the whole aspect. It's still going to look like metal, but it's going to look like hammered metal. And the reason I do this now before I add the color is because I need this to be dry, number one. And number two, I need this to be dry. So there's that. So this is it's kind of fun to watch the bubbles go. And it doesn't matter if they jump into big bubbles or they make a bunch of tiny ones. Does not matter because hammered metal looks like that. And it does kind of rather, you know, puff up the design a little bit more as well. So that's another cool bonus point for the Lunar paste. And I know a lot of you have Lunar paste and really don't use it, so I just wanted to make sure that I show you another way that you can use it. So there we go. We've got those ready to go, and we're going to make sure those are dry. Okay, so I walked off and let those dry for a bit, had myself a chicken finger or two, and now we're going to get our color down. And so for this one, I'm going to use the Distress Spray Stain, and I'm going to use Prize Ribbon. But I do want to show you that you can use other products too. So you're not limited to spray stain. Maybe you don't have any spray stain. We're going to do this one first though, and then we'll move on to the next. And I'm just going to spray this directly down onto it. And no, I didn't do it in my splat box. And yes, I make a hot mess. That's nothing new. I'm just going to kind of let that run. And see, the Lunar paste will resist it. Yeah, except my fingers. I missed the spot right there. And mostly I want to let these dry mostly naturally, but I will take some heat to it just because. I'm just grabbing a piece of that paper towel here so I can kind of wipe down my Lunar paste. It doesn't have to be perfect. Believe me, it does not. Okay, so now we've got a whole different look to that. Now let me clean this up here and show you another way that you can do this. So let's say you have Catherine Puller ink. So you're just going to ink blend over top of it. So this one I've got Juniper Mist, And I'm just going to take a blending brush and blend some of that down on here. And you would do a nice heavy blending on it. Here's what I did notice. This is an observation. So I used three or four kinds of ink. Okay, so I'm going to grab now Simon Hurley's Midnight Snack. And we're going to put some of that on. So say you only have Simon Hurley ink. Okay, great. Use Simon Hurley ink. I noticed that the Juniper Mist almost has a purple undertone, which I'm not looking for. I'm looking for more, you know, of a navy color. So here we are with the Midnight Snack, doing the same thing, just doing some heavy blending on it. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to spray water on it. And I should get that stupid paper towel out of my face. It's in the way. I'm just ignoring it. Well, because I want to wipe off my brush before I move to another ink brand. So now I'm going to grab some Gina K ink in the navy. And we'll blend some of that down. So say you're a Gina K person, Concord and Ninth, Simon Says Stamp, whatever you have. So here's in the navy, and it has a completely different blue tone to it. I rather like it. So my observation is that one of these inks, and I couldn't tell you which one, but one of them kind of stained the Lunar paste, and I'm not mad. So you'll see. It just kind of has it picks up that blue hue. Now I'm going to just grab some water and I'm going to water this down because I want that effect that we got from the spray stain. And then I'm just going to kind of wipe away the excess off of my Lunar paste. And it's okay if I'm wiping on the paper too because I can go in with a second coat. See, the Juniper Mist almost ended up being purple. And I think I like in the navy the best. So that's my point. Use what you have. So the difference is basically the tone of color. That's all. We've got lighter and darker spots the same on both of them. And then once the one on the left is dry, I'll add more ink to it to kind of darken it down, and that's what you can do. So let me grab some prize ribbon here and just add a little bit more right onto this one too. That's what I was doing. I was sitting there looking for that. I haven't labeled that one yet. I've had it for probably a year and haven't labeled it yet. Just lazy me. Lazy. Let's come in and just whatever's on my brush, put it down. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a dry here. And the drying will help kind of bring back the shininess to the Lunar paste. But I want to dry it some so I can add more ink. Now, could you do this with mica stains? Probably. I don't know how the mica would remove from the Lunar paste. All I could say is try it. And you see I've got some where my Lunar paste got through the stencil. That's okay because this is, a grungy mixed metal look. It's not a perfect polka dot look. So we'll go ahead and add some more color. And I did go for in the navy because I like this. I like blue. I like purple too, but I like this blue especially. So I'm just darkening it down, and then I'll take my paper towel and wipe off the Lunar paste again. This is why you want to make sure your Lunar paste is dry, because otherwise when you go to wipe it off, it just smudges everywhere. A little bit more, and I'm going to be trimming both of these down, by the way. And I'll just take the dry paper towel and wipe up the ink. All right, there we go. So can you see that there's a little bit of a bluish hue to some of that? It picked it up somehow, that Shady did, which is fine. I love it. I'm perfectly fine with it. So I'm going to be trimming these down to 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to save those pieces that I've trimmed down, and at the end of the video I'll show you the bonus card I made. Because remember, I've already done 1 card, so I have a total trimmings from a total of 3 cards by the time I'm done here. And I'm loving that top corner, so that's why I'm cutting down at the bottom. All right. There we go. So we'll put those aside. There we've got our panels cut the way I want them. And what I need to do next is I need to actually make the matte layers. So I'm going to grab some more watercolor. It doesn't really matter what kind of paper, but I'm going to trim it down to 4 by 5 1/4. I like to use watercolor because it withstands heating better than other papers. It doesn't warp as bad. But I believe that I use some, I want to say I probably used some hammer mill here. I might have used watercolor. I don't remember. It was 20 minutes ago, guys. Come on. Oh, Lord. I had to pay more attention, huh? Yeah. That's okay. All right, so what we want is we want a metallic-looking matte layer, too. So I'm going to start off with the Shady and throw it down. No. Go ahead and, you know, I start to apply this with my stick thingy, you know, knife. Where is my knife? Where did I put my knife? And then I'm just, by the time it's over, it's kind of like that. I don't know if you've ever seen that ad where the first kid, your first kid baby is just babied like crazy and you're scared to death. And your second kid, you got slung over your back. Yeah, that was kind of me with my kids too. And that's sometimes me with my projects and being patient. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm just getting my fingers in it. This is just takes too long. It's boring. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm adding texture with my fingers, and where it's too thick I'm kind of just spreading it out and then just tapping on it to get that texture, because that's where the bubbles are going to occur, and that's what I want. So I'll just keep going around it. And remember, most of this is going to be covered. You're only going to see about 1/8 of an inch on each side. Okay, so I'll wipe my finger off. Kind of sort of wipe up my mess here. And let's grab the GUR and do our other. Let's wipe this off so I don't contaminate it too much. I wouldn't be heartbroken if I did. All right, let's just move some stuff around here so we can function. Look at my fingers. They're a hot mess. And they do end up staining a little bit with the blue spray stain. It's pretty messy. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm just doing the same thing here, just patting this down and then tapping to get the texture all the way around. Then I'm going to hit it with my drying tool, make those bubbles happen. I got that way too thick there. There we go. Let's spread it out. And you don't even have to do this step. You could just mat it with, you know, gold or silver or Tim Holtz cardstock or whatever you want. But you might as well use your product before it dries up and you're crying because it's dried up and you can't use it anymore. Use it up, buy some more. I will have the Lunar Paste products and everything linked below. And that link below is an affiliate link. If you do shop that link, I do make a little bit of money from Share Sale and Ranger. And honestly, You know, I really appreciate it when you guys do that, but if you don't, you don't. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. You know, maybe you shop on Amazon, or maybe you shop, you know, maybe you have another favorite creator that you want to shop with. That's fine by me. It's just fine. If you have the product, then I'm happy. So we're getting some really nice bubbles with this. Look at those. Ooh, it's so fun to do too. I need to make sure they're completely dry though before I move on to the next step, because I will be doing a little bit of ink blending on and around them. And even if it's partially dry, it'll still bubble up for you, just so you know. So if you're going to ask me if any harsh or dangerous chemicals are released with heating this, I don't think so. But I'm not a chemist. It's supposed to withstand heat, but obviously if you keep your heat in one place, it's going to bubble. Oops, I got my fingers in there. Okay, let's go ahead and get this one done. I honestly love this part. And I do this with a lot of my texture pastes. I just kind of rather they bubble, you know, unless they are supposed to have another impact, like the crackle paste is supposed to have crackles, and so I don't want it to have bubbles and crackles, because then it's just going to peel right off. But this doesn't. Ooh, there's a big one. They're like blisters. I think they're cool. But if they're big and thick like that, they can be and usually are wet underneath. So just be aware of that. If you have giant bubbles like that, give it some time to completely dry. Okay, we kind of got our shine back. All right, so let me go ahead and clean up here, and then let's go ahead and start putting together. So I've already pre-cut these this fun foam to just a little under 3 3/4 by a little under 5, and I'm going to peel the backing off and just add it to the back and make sure that it's not hanging over anywhere. So the main reason that I like to pop these up is because it shows off more of that cool textury background that we created for our matte layer. So let me go ahead and edge this. I forgot to edge it before I started. And I'm going to go ahead and then edge that with the Black Soot Archival, because I don't want any white edges showing through. There we go. Ooh, I just got an alert. Huge snowstorm. And that's our local guy. I know it's not here. We don't get snowstorms in Alabama, but somebody's going to get one. And that's okay, as long as everybody's safe. I'm going to go ahead and edge this piece. Just again, so there's no white showing through. Because, you know, all the paper is obviously white to start with. And it just gives it that little bit more dimension. So I hope you'll consider some of the newer colors that Simon came out with, the Shady and the Grr and, oh gosh, the Cookie Dough, all beautiful metallic-like colors. So you see this is kind of warpy because, you know, I hit it with my dryer. And yeah, I did do that on watercolor paper because I can see the back now. I'm just trying to straighten that out a little bit, and I'm going to glue the dickens out of it. So I've got here my art glitter glue. That's the one. And I'm going to put monster amounts of glue. I do not want to use tape because I am horrible at getting these things on straight. And I know that if I use tape, it's down. And I've used it in the past. You've seen me use it, but it's just not my preferred method. So there we go. We're going to lay that down on there. Just give it a push here and there. And I'm going to end up putting something heavy on it, so never fear. But see, down here, it's still kind of a little warpy, so I want to give it, you know, push it down really well. If in doubt, glue it down to another piece and then glue those down. And then I'm going to add a whole bunch of glue again to this fun foam too. And just press that down a little bit more. And I am going in heavy with the glue on the fun foam too. You know, glue companies ought to be really grateful for us crafters. Especially card makers, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and just glue that down. And I did glue that onto a black card base. I'm going to go ahead and put something heavy on it and then work on the one with our gur. And I've got a navy blue card base here. This is some Gina K paper. And I don't know, it might be in the navy. No idea. I bought it, you know, from Simon Says Stamps on clearance. So I'm edging this one again with the ground espresso. And I hope the audio is good on this. I've never used my earbuds before to record or voiceover on a video. And I hope it works. I hope I don't spend over an hour doing a voiceover and then it's just not there. That will get me for sure. Okay, and we'll go ahead and get this one. And just again, making sure that I don't have any white edges poking out. Alrighty. And same process. I'm going to just toss a little bit on the top there just for, you know, kicks and giggles. All right, let's go ahead and put our foam on. Let me see, what is that Gina K paper? Let me see, I think it's got a label on it here. Let's just drop everything. Yeah, it's in the navy. It's heavyweight cardstock. I have a heck of a time finding a nice navy blue, and so I really like this one. And again, just thick and heavy with the glue. And again, this is the reason I did this as a premiere is because it's such a long video, because I wanted you guys to see the full process. And I probably could have done it on a live, but I didn't, so there's that. I'm not going to be doing lives on weekends anymore, unless I do a pop-up live like I did yesterday. My hopes and plans are Mondays at 2 Central and Thursdays. And I'm not sure what time, maybe 4:45 or 5. That's my planned schedule. It doesn't mean it will happen because, you know, stuff happens. And I'm a migraine sufferer, so I can come up with a migraine at any time. And not by choice. Trust me on that one. All right, let's get this one glued down. This one is my favorite. Hey, do let me know in the comments down below if you watch this video not on the premiere, which one you like better. All right, now I'm going to pile a bunch of stuff on there, heavy things, so that this can dry. And I'll walk off and come back when it's dry, which is, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. All right, now let's assemble this card. All right, we've got our little moons, and I just wanted to show you that I made these from this Better Press plate, and I just clipped out the little moons with my 2.5-inch circle punch because I love circle punches. I love punches. They're so handy. And I foiled them with different Crafty Credit foils, I want to say. But because I don't have a Better Press, didn't really want one, but I do like the way these foil. So see, this one has kind of a same bronzy colored foil on it. I am going to add some depth and dimension to it. You know what? First, let me clean this off because I probably still have some of the whatchamacallit, the ground espresso on it. But let me grab my little friend cookie dough here and just throw some color in these guys because I don't want them to be stark white. And even though my colors are cool on my sort of black card, I still am going to add the cookie dough to the moon and sun. Let's try and get that in there straight. And then I'll just take my little rag and wipe some of that off the foil. And because the foil on this one is kind of a gunmetal, I got something on there. Of course I did. On the other one is kind of a gunmetal. It's hard to see it unless you're looking at it with your eyeballs. So I'm just kind of coming in to about half the face and darkening it, and then just darkening around the edges. So it's got a little bit of a roundish appearance. And then I'll use black soot distressing for this one, just to kind of make sure that it all kind of blends together nicely. We just clean that archival off of there a little bit. And I want to dab it off, and I just want to come in lightly and add some shading to that side of the face, and then I'll go around it. And I'm just swiping downwards in a downwards motion to kind of get that just a little bit of edging on there. Okay, yep, I'm happy with that. But I think I want a little bit more going on with my other guy. I think I want a little bit darker, so I'm going to come in with my ground espresso archival and just do the edges with the darker color. Yeah, it gives it a little bit more of an antique-ish look. All right, now we're just about ready to assemble, friends. So I've got my little pieces. Remember those we did in the beginning of the video? See, they don't show up very well like this. So this is why I added the newspaper, because, or not the newspaper. You could use newspaper, but I used just a dictionary page so that there's something for those to stand out on. And these are the times where I audition how I want things to go on here. So I just kind of move everything around until I'm happy with the placement, and it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way either. So watch and see. See, you can see now the foil is kind of a gunmetal. In fact, it's called gunmetal, so it goes well. It's just very hard to see on camera. So I've got a dictionary page here, and I'm just going to rip it. And this is very old. It was a paperback dictionary that I picked up at the Sally Army, probably. But I want to trim off the white space because I just want the words. So I'm just going to use my trimmer because I do want square corners. I know that seems weird. Why would you want that? But it is what I want. So that's that. And let's go ahead and cut down this piece. There we go. And we'll cut that little edgy off of there just so I can maximize, you know, what I'm using instead of having to cut more because I'm so lazy. Okay, so everything I do from here is tearing, I think. Let's take a look. Now, I think I'm going to end up trimming that. Yep, I'm going to end up trimming it. And you know, I don't even notice that the words are upside down. And by the time I'm done, I don't care. It doesn't matter. So I just used my fingernail to kind of make a mark where I needed to trim that off. Because again, on the bottom corner, I want the corners on there straight and not torn looking. But neat. I don't know. Lack of a better word. And I'm just going to cut a strip off of here because I feel I need balance. I feel like just having the dictionary page on the bottom without having anything on the top left, it just upsets my sense of balance. So there's that. Okay, I get one for that piece. That makes me happy. And then I'm just going to tear a little strip off here for the top. And you could totally skip this, all of it. It's just my process, so thought I'd share it with you. I'm going to go ahead and edge this up. And then I'm going to crinkle it. And then just smush my ink down on it and then open it back out. So I have just an interesting effect on it. I'm not going to get it wet because, I just don't want to wait for it to dry, and I don't want to take heat to it. I'm just going to glue it down, and I'll glue it down with my art glitter glue. And I don't need glue, don't need the glue to be perfect. I don't mind if some edges hang over or stick out or aren't glued down. I just want it kind of straight on there. And then I'll go ahead and ink this piece up and put it down as well. And I'm just going to glue that to the top, kind of, not really willy-nilly, but where my eye feels like it should go. And this is how I design, okay? I look at things and make a decision based on the equipment that I have. So I know, and I also know that there's going to be a sentiment on this. So I kind of know where I want to place things. Now the sun moon, guys, I'm going to pop up on foam squares. And yep, I got really quiet here. This is a long video. I apologize for that if you're watching the replay and not in the chat, at least chatting with other people while you wait for me to do things like this. And these are the things that we cut out of our videos to make them tolerable, for people like me. I have, have a very short attention span. So now you can see how I'm trying to compose this based on the materials that I have. So if it was just going to be the moon, I would have done this completely different. And I don't necessarily feel like I'm following any specific artistic rules. I don't know what those rules are. What I'm following is I'm following my emotion, I guess. I'm following how I feel about what I'm seeing. And that's my own purpose and sense of balance, is just following my emotions. So you do you, boo. And I'm not mad. I love it anyway. So I'm edging this guy with the black, obviously. But the reason that I added the little bit of cookie dough to the moon part is because this doobly-doo, what is this? A dictionary page. Because this dictionary page is yellowed, I wanted some cohesion with color. So I didn't want this to be off color while everything else was on color, if that makes any sense. So now I've got balance. So I've got some yellowish tones in 3 spots. Well, it'll be 4 spots by the time I get the sentiments on, but you know what I mean. And I wish you could see that moon in person. It looks funky on camera. Just because it's not really a light foil, it's a gray foil, but yeah, it's very shiny. And okay, let's dig through I don't want to mess around with those little half pieces. I use those for something else. I have way too many of these from Simon Says Stamps, but I love them so much. But it's, I saw Kathy Zilski, she organized hers, and she, awesome. She did a great job. I should do that, right? That's what I said when I saw it. I went, oh, that's such a great idea. I should do that. And there they are, not done. All right, peel a little backies off. It's kind of a nice day today. It's probably cold. May not hit 50, I don't know, but the sun's out, so that's nice because it's been cloudy and cold. And when it's like that, I just want to stay in bed. I know. All right, so here's where I'm going to struggle. I don't like where I put the moon. Let me move it up a little bit. And decide how I want this guy. How much of the moon's face am I willing to cover? And I think ultimately I'm going to end up putting it the same way that I have the other one. It seems to sit best that way. Yep, and that's perfect. If you don't have any flourish dies, I highly recommend getting them because they add a lot and can add a lot to any project. And I'm sitting here looking at my glue, and I can see my glue topper laying there. This is so funny because generally I don't do my voiceover in this room, but Beep took my spot in my bedroom, and he won't move. And I keep picking him up and moving him, and he wants the spot so bad he'll climb right on top of me to get me to move. So I said, okay, forget it. I'm just gonna come in my craft room and do my voiceover, and he can have my spot for now. All right, so now what I'm doing here is I am looking for my stamps. So I'm going to use these tiny text, this Tim Holtz, and there are a lot of great sayings on here, but none of them are really birthday, except Make-A-Wish. Make-A-Wish will always work for birthday. And so that's what I'm going to use. You could use Love You to the Moon and Back for this picture because obviously it's got that. But I like the Make-A-Wish because of, yeah, birthdays. And I'm going to stamp down 2 in the Black Suit Archival, and I'm going to stamp down 2 in the Ground Espresso Archival, just so I can get the best stamping. And there's our little piece of scrap paper from the little flourishes that we cut out. All right, let's flip this over. We'll grab the black soot. And I don't think I'm even cleaning off in between. I don't care. Again, at this point, I'm making 2 cards. I'm filming. I'm tired. All right, and just kind of give those a second to dry. Then I'm going to add some color over top of them. There, now I'm putting the lid on my glue. And I've got just the dauber that I usually use with my black soot, and I'm kind of cleaning it off a little bit so I can just do a light dusting, so to speak. I'm just very light-handedly going over those with the black soot, and then I'll do the same with the brown one that I use for my vintage photo, my walnut stain, everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut these out, and we'll pop them up. Let me give that a push there where it's, that's the one thing is, you know, when you start heating edges, they get funky. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I want that a little closer. And I don't know which one I'm actually cutting, but it must be that one. I only need 1 each. Okay, let me just kind of get that where I want it. And then... no, I want it a little bit closer. There we go. And then I start to chop this from the top, but I'm not crazy about chopping from the top. So I'm going down to the bottom, and you can't see me, but I'm actually there chopping. Okay, and then let's go ahead and grab my black one. And, okay, I'm using I just picked the one that stamped out the best. There we go. And just chomping off the edges. All right, now I've got my sentiments. Let's get all this stuff out of my way here, and we'll pop our sentiments down. And I'm just going to use I'm going to edge this now, so I still have plenty of ink deep down in my little sponge there, so I'm just pushing down pretty hard to kind of get this edged. Let's grab the black one. And we'll get this one edged up. I'm hoping to premiere this video today. We'll see how long it takes to upload and process on YouTube because, you know, it's a Sunday and everything. So here I've got my scrapbook.com strips. And I always buy these when they're on sale because every once in a while they have a really great sale. Okay. And so when I finish this and I say bye-bye to you guys and stuff like that, I decide to go ahead and do something with the strips that I had cut out. So yeah, please stay tuned to the end so you can see the bonus card, because even though it looks like I'm saying bye and I'm waving and I'm saying thumbs up and all those things, I've made another short video just showing the bonus card and showing the original card that I made that sparked the idea to go ahead and film this. Okay, I'm going to take my tweezers and add some glue because I want a little wiggle room in case I mess up and drop it or something. And I think I'm just going to have it go right about there. I'm happy with the balance of that. All right, and we'll do the same for the black and white one. Black and white with red all over. Remember that joke? Of course you do. Look at my thumb. I'm a hot mess. That's from the edging. There we go. So here's our card with the Shady Lunar paste. And here's our card with the Lunar paste. All puffed up and metallic looking. So I hope you do like this video, and if you do, please leave me a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. And here we go. I've got here, whoops, haven't you ever done that? I'm sure you have. So I did, I let that one dry naturally. I didn't bubble it up. So it looks a lot different, a little bit shinier. And then here's the one that I did bubble up. And then here's the one that I did in the Shady Lunar paste and bubbled up. And then here's our bonus card. So I just took and glued strips of that down to a piece of black paper and then cut it out with the oval shaped die and cut out the hello and glued it down. And there we go. Thanks a bunch. Have a good one. Bye-bye.